now to like.
You know what the most
What?
shared episode was? You want to guess?
What's that? Oh, loft design.
No, that was the most played episode, the most shared episode.
Hold on.
It was an interview, if that helps.
Well, they're all interviews, aren't they?
Well,
They don't want to listen to us talk.
Sometimes they're just us bullshitting. I mean,
Yeah, it's fair, but no, it's the MPA guy.
ooh, it's the other guy with an acronym.
Ryan's?
No, it's the VFRC guy, Richard.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
Really?
Yep. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say the VFRC guys were sharing it amongst themselves or something, or helping promote it too. I don't know.
They're probably like, listen to this. Listen to Chris. He's a dumbass.
Right, man. He makes our president look so smart.
It's awesome.
Nah, man, it was good though. I mean, a lot of good stuff. I mean, really, we've been doing some pretty cool interviews. Like, geez, I've definitely been learning stuff from it.
Sitting here amongst my birds doing this thing. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, no,
It's a lot less. It's a lot cooler when I'm home and doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Than when I'm flapping my own wings.
Do you want to say anything to the listeners about your disappearance? I know you're doing like a classified work here, so I know we got to keep it on the down low.
Snowstorm came through, knocked out all communications. It was too cold for me to stand outside, so I finally had to resort to sending a homing pigeon message to the valley to let everybody know that I was alive. And finally I rescued myself, made it out of there.
You signed a hush contract. Really, everybody. He was abducted by aliens. He broke out in the middle of the woods. He's running around all crazy for a few days. They're going to make a movie about it. I think you got a movie deal on that.
Never probed.
That's that, Fire in the Sky was a movie about a guy here in Snowflake, right? You know that?
Yeah. And I believe it too.
Yeah,
I believe it would be in
Snowflake. If you see him at the bar, I guess he'll be happy to tell you the story. It's good that you're back on and everything. I don't know if you were going to be able to make it that last time I talked with Mike from the NPA or not. So I just left it open-ended in case you came in or whatever, if the pigeon made it here and I could open up the message and read it to the listeners. But
man, it would have been really cool if I could have sent a message on this pigeon here back to Dave.
Nah, that'd be like what, 100 or so miles.
What's that? Oh no, he's way out there. It's Sacramento, I think.
Oh, okay. I see. You're talking about your new pigeon that you got today. Your
my bonus bird.
You're snatching up other people's birds here, man. I mean, you want to be talking about that right now?
Yeah, it just showed up.
And I mean, you weren't even flying your powders, which is impressive. I mean, you're bringing them in with just your racers or something?
No, rolling pigeons.
Okay.
Through the rollers, and he came in, and he was hungry. Jumped right in the trap. I looked the band up, and I called the guy, and I got a phone call back, telling me what to do with them, and he said, "Hey, you want to keep that bird for your racers?" Sure. It was pretty cool. It's been raced. He's got about 600 miles on him. I think it's a girl, actually.
Remember, you can always swing a magnet over their head and figure out if it's a girl or a boy.
A magnet?
That's science.
So is it got to be one of them horseshoe magnets?
I don't think. I think you can swing a speaker over their head. Get like a 6x9 out of a Buick or something and just swing it around their head.
You get 12 out of the back of your neighbor's car, and if you can't hold still, it's a girl or what?
I don't know if you drop that thing, that'd be the end of that bird.
Man.
And I told you, but I'm gonna tell the listeners too that the pigeon that we have as the icon for the All About Pigeons podcast. So that's well, Chris, I got the pigeon from you. So what do you give the backdrop on that bird?
I got that bird from a gentleman at the local pigeon club swap and sell. She's a scion, I believe, and she was flown Federation race bird. That's about the most I know about her, but I always liked her, and I had another one like her. She was super nice. And these birds, you can't, because they've been flown and trained. I can't. It'd be really tough to settle these birds, so I've never tried. One day I was sorting out my birds to fly because they're not breeding at this time. I was sorting them out to fly, and I put the wrong bird out, so lost the other bird. That was kind of a bummer. That was my favorite one, but you got that one there. She's kind of nice. And what now? She's expecting.
Well, I'm expecting one more egg. She plopped out one egg today, so hopefully by tomorrow I'll see another one in there. So I paired her
That's
up with
great.
another bird that I got from you, which is that red check cockbird. So I paired those two up. So we'll see. It seems like I should be able to take a guess about what it looks like after all the people we've talked to on genetics and stuff. I should know what the bird's going to look like, but
Already, you should know if it's a boy or a girl too.
I know I should know
Just
that.
by
I should
looking
know
at the shape of
everything
the
about
egg.
that bird. Yeah.
Well, as long as you incubate them on their left side, you'll always get the boy birds.
Everybody knows that. Come on.
Absolutely.
And that's science too.
That's pure science.
We need to come up with a good name for that bird since it is like a mascot for us.
There you go. Have a contest. We have a name contest.
Naming contest, yeah. Well, yeah. Think of a good
Name the bird, yeah.
good girl name. I'll put that up there on the Facebook then. See if we can get a name for her. Because I just call her the podcast pigeon. And the podcast pigeon laid an egg.
Dude, that's kind of cool too.
Yeah.
The podcast pigeon. Well, maybe give it a first name. It's gotta be a cool first name, you know. Petunia the podcast pigeon, or
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I got you. So it's like a titled with it. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, no, well, I'll throw that up there on the Facebook and see if anybody comes up with some cool names for her. I mean, she is a really pretty bird. That blue grizzle, just.
Well, that's a good looking bird, and she'll always change. She's gonna look different next year.
Yeah.
Most of the grizzles that I have are all different now. They just keep changing and changing. If you're breeding for color, that'll make it really difficult because you never know what that thing's gonna look like.
Let's talk about this for a minute. Let's talk about the next person we're going to be doing an interview with. Because after this interview, there's not going to be any more. I don't know what the baby's going to be. We're going to be super professional on this. We'll have such a good amount of knowledge.
Pros, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll start working on my first book after this next interview. Man.
Phil is starting with the smack talk right now. Get it on thick.
Yeah. I mean, the really funny part about the next person we're going to interview, I mean, we can kind of drop a little bit of a spoiler, can't we?
He's not going to hear this before we record, right?
Well, this will come out the week before. I'll read a little bit of his bio here. So Dave Shoemaker has been an avid animal breeder for over 60 years. He graduated from the University of California with a Bachelor of Science degree in genetics. And then he, in the 80s, he worked as a director of the porcine products for genetics engineering. It was during this time that he got back into the racing pigeons. He had his first flock of racing pigeons in 85. He operates the Shoemaker Genetics in California. He maintains over a dozen inbred lines and does contemporary group performance, testing about 1,000 birds each year. He flies in one-loft races and some of the different ones. He wrote the book, Genetics of Racing, 20 Essential Concepts for Breeding Champions, published in 2022. It's been sold to fanciers in 15 different countries. He gives numerous seminars at the IF and AU conventions, one-loft races, the 2021 China First Congress Symposium on Veterinary Science and Pigeon Health. He was one of the original authors for the first electronic pigeon newsletters, Winning, started by Stephen Van Bremen in 2004. His articles have also been published in Pigeon Racing Digest and the British Homing World Studbook. And he's also a member of the AU Member Hall of Fame there. That is David Shoemaker. So he's going to be coming on and talking with us on the next episode. I touch on a lot of different things because his background isn't just genetics. He does a lot of racing and stuff too. So, but I think genetics we're going to try to, a lot of information in a little bit of time. We'll try to get right into the meat and potatoes as soon as he comes on. But I mean, the funny thing is, well, Chris, you say the funny part of it.
I met this guy, or I talked to him today. That pigeon that my rollers brought in, that was his pigeon.
Yeah, you talked to him outside of the podcast. You talked to him as somebody who just found one of his birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking. You telling me about this bird you got today, and you're like, it's some guy Shoemaker. I'm like, David. You're like, yeah, David Shoemaker, out of California. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man! Like, cause we've been emailing back and forth, and just the last day or so, he just finally told me that he's going to come on and do an interview with us. And oh man, I'm like, people are going to think that we all like live within a block of each other, but
he's over 300 miles away.
Yeah.
And the bird came from San Diego. It was released way east of me, but out in the mountains. Like, this is a super tough course. Everybody has told me that one would be like pretty near impossible for me because they're coming over the mountains. And
so they were released east of you, flying west of Cali. I got you.
Right. So it was 350 miles, and there were I think 1,200 or 1,000 birds.
Wow.
Something like that. I don't know. He'll know more than me, but it's all on the website there.
Wow.
All the results, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, what are the odds? You know what I mean? That's just cool. Like, what are the odds of that?
Yeah, it's quite the coincidence. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that guy's bird and all those birds landed in your, with your pigeons, and then come to find out, we're going to be talking to him in a couple of days. I mean, that's funny.
Yeah, and the bird seems to be healthy. It was hungry, but it's kind of fat, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But it's a stout little bird. It seems to be in pretty good shape, but it's kind of heavy.
Probably stopped at a McDonald's parking lot on the way to your place or something.
Right.
That reminded me. He's talking about his articles in the Racing Pigeon Digest, and the last couple of issues, there's been these articles written about losses that guys are having with their birds not coming back. The main theory is that there's so many different 5G and all these other different cell phone towers and all the satellites that we have flying around, all these new signals that are just buzzing through the air all the time are starting to mess with these birds. And one guy made an article where he said, why don't we kind of go back to the basics, like forget bloodlines, go back to racing pigeons that just return home, and then build our bloodlines off of that, and we'll get to that speed equivalent again. But right now, because a lot of guys all over the country are just having really high losses, and they're saying it's more than just the bird of prey. Their training hasn't changed or anything like that. And really, if anything, if you're going off of these bloodlines and stuff, your losses should be less and less every year. You should be getting a better bird. I don't know. What do you think about that? You think all these invisible signals through the air are frying their brains? And
those little invisible signals don't even go like 2 miles. Can't even get my phone to work.
We need more signals.
Can't see it. Right? I want more. They're going to come out with 6G next year. My phone's going to be worthless. I don't know what to think about that.
I thought it was really interesting. I mean, because there are more signals than there used to be. I mean, back in the day when it was just, if you want TV, put up an antenna, obviously before cell phones and all that stuff.
I feel like in the last several years, the one thing that has changed is everything is like twice as expensive. And one thing I noticed when I looked at the race result today is that these races had big losses. Big losses.
Yeah.
Like, a quarter of the birds at a time. And then the time, and are they putting in the time to train these birds? Is it too expensive? Is it cost prohibitive?
Some of these guys are saying that training hasn't changed, but I could see where.
Yeah,
remember what Ryan's talked about, like especially in the UK and stuff, where it's like it's hard to drive 50 miles, because the roads are so curvy, it takes forever. And then of course, gas is insane right now, and people's schedules, a little bit
That's
tighter.
what I'm talking about. We're paying like twice as much for feed. We're paying twice as much for fuel. Everything costs so much more. Tires.
Yeah.
Everything.
So I wonder where you're going with this. I was like, what does cost got to do with it? So you're saying that you think that people just aren't conditioning their birds better, or like they should?
Well, I mean, maybe they need more time.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
man, that's just like one more thing to find attractive about one loft races.
Well, no, but are they doing the training?
Well, that's their job. That's where the money goes for. It goes to them driving and the gas, the tires, and everything like that, specifically earmarked for that stuff. Whereas like the regular guys, like I get off at work at this time and I'm gonna try to fly my birds or take them out somewhere and do a release. It's different. They should be training. I mean, should is different than might be what's going on. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of one loft races, and some are probably really on top of it, and especially the ones that update every release. You know what I mean? Like live stream their stuff really good and like good transparency.
I think most of them are doing that now.
Yeah.
But you'll see it. Where there's a big smash somewhere and they lose a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And it seems to happen quite often. How can you train birds and train these birds and get them all back? But then questions I have.
What I mean? Yeah, we're going to be talking to we got some other interviews with some people up down the road here, and this is a question I'm specifically going to come back to because
I get that things happen.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also some races that are notorious, like, these birds got to fly over a huge mountain range, or weather kicks up, stuff like that, But
this one out here that I found, he come from a really nasty course. You got to fly over a ton of mountains to get to where we're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the one that bird you got.
Yeah, that was gnarly coming, to get here. Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff to fly through, and it was cold, and which maybe was better for them. I don't know.
Maybe
they're flying over through around whatever on them cliffs and stuff. There's a lot of stuff to fly. Nothing's necessarily straight over there either.
Just realized we didn't do like any opening on the podcast.
Oh, well, you can start whenever you want to, I guess.
Well, I wanted to do the Family Feud intro today, man.
Oh.
We've been talking about it, and
man,
you know what I'm talking about, right?
You always ask me this, and I just drop.
Do you not watch the Family Feud, man?
Watch the bloopers. I really don't like Steve that much.
Really? Oh man.
Well, it's not that I dislike him. I don't know. I don't know. Now better not put that out there because we get hate mail for that.
How can you hate Steve Harvey, man?
Don't do that to me, Phil. Come on.
All right, we're gonna do the Family Feud opener, which people who listen to Family Feud can appreciate. Chris is going to be like, "What's this guy doing?" Hello and welcome to the All About Pigeons podcast. I'm your man Phil. Today we got with us the denizens, the makers, the makers. I don't know. You go by so many different aliases, man. It's hard to stay up with it. Understand
For those who understand the reference, you'll be one step ahead of me today.
We were talking about this earlier with the different where we host the podcast through Spotify. We're on Apple and Google and Amazon and everything like that, but Spotify's where we host through. And so they gave us all kinds of stats and stuff, and Loft Design was played 52% more than every other episode. And in my head, I'm like, is that because people are kind of, I'd assume it's because people are building a loft.
everybody's got to start somewhere, for sure.
I mean, I just thought that was interesting. Out of all the, and racing pigeons was a really popular one too. But yeah, loft design was like always listened to a lot. And I thought that was interesting. But we've
funny
put it
because
out
it's
there.
probably the stuff we know the least about.
Well, if you remember the episode, dude, I just read out of the Pigeon Encyclopedia,
Right?
and we kind of talked on it a little bit, I guess. But
all of our stuff is just made over sheds.
dude, I only have the only legit pigeon lofts I have is the one that you made for my son, and then I made him a kit box, and then my other one is an old outdoor shower that I converted, and the other one is just an old pallet building that I converted. I definitely got dream lofts in my head, but
mine are just buildings that were falling down, doors coming off of them, stuff like that. And cleaned them up, and just old shit, pretty much. But
I mean, you get that racing loft is pretty nice, though. You built that specific for racers. That's a nice loft.
Right, but it's just a little tiny. It's not. It's a nice size for a nice sized team, for a small team.
Yeah.
That's all I put it together for. If I do the club racing, I'll have enough to fly. I don't need hundreds. Can't do it. Could never afford it. Probably don't have the time for it.
I definitely ain't gonna try to compete with any of these lofts like in Belgium and stuff like that. That's some next level stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I guess I could convert my house into a pigeon loft, and then I might be able to compete. But
that'd be excellent. Use the attic. Use the attic, bro.
Oh, like that? Those powder guys? Oh, man, that's so cool. I'm not gonna lie. When I was up there working on my attic, put that floor in there for storage, I was like, I could totally poke my head through, and put a little trap right here. And oh, jeez. But how would you clean that? Would you haul in water up the stairs and stuff? I mean, I guess that's
what the guy was doing. He was carrying a water jug. Don't you remember? Everything is trained with water and feed on that one.
I mean, that's like those guys with the pigeon lofts up in the cities where they got to go through the roof access, which is just a straight up ladder coming through the top. I'm like, man, you pulling 50-pound bags of feed up there, and
dude, that would never fly here. It's too hot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you die in the attic. Just fart around.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna make a little spiel here.
What's your spiel, Phil? What you got?
So we've said this a bunch, about not monetizing, and it's just like anything else. Just watching a YouTube and ads popping up every 30 seconds. I mean, you guys notice that there's never any ads when you're listening to this. It's just the podcast. We don't monetize, so we're not putting money back into it. We're not paying for like promotion or anything like that. So I'm just going to put this out there that if you guys do like it, and if you do think that other people who would like it, share it with them. That's the easiest way to promote the hobby. That's all we're trying to do, is promote the hobby. It definitely seems like there's a lot of, I feel like the hobby's growing, honestly. I mean, I definitely see a lot of new people in it. I've had people hit me up on the side and talk about their starting off in pigeons and stuff, and that's awesome. That's like what it's about. It's, we've said before too, we're not any kind of experts on anything. We'll get you guys the experts. You tell us what you want to hear, and we'll do our best to get them on. Realistically, it's a lot of these other podcasts that do monetize and stuff, they can put money back into it, and they can compensate for these guys. But every speaker, every interview that we've done, these guys have come on, there's never money exchanging hands. They're doing it for the same reason of just promoting it. So if you guys can, help us promote it, it's all just for the benefit of the hobby in that way. So, and I'll leave it at that, because that's almost an ad right there. So I'm going to stop.
Like and share and subscribe.
Or push that like button, smash the share button.
That's what he was trying to say. All of those things.
Destroy the 5-star symbol.
Got you.
I love how those YouTubers use extreme adjectives for clicking.
Yeah. Got you, Phil. Yeah, no, for sure. Share that stuff. And if you know any famous people, it is the holidays. If you're going to be hanging out with them, maybe say, Chris and Phil need somebody to talk to. They're kind of lonely, and have them hit us up, because could interview them too, but they got to be into pigeons, or have a cool pigeon story or something like that.
Yeah, because this episode right here is like y'all's punishment. You got to listen to us jabber on. I mean, we got some interviews coming up and everything, but we had a couple of people hit us up, doing an episode on nutrition. So we're not just going to run to the first guy. We're asking, some of these people that are really, deep in the game, I guess you could say, about with pigeons. And we've got some really good people coming up with that. We had some other ideas come in, so we're trying to answer those. And yeah, if you guys ever have anything that you want us to talk about, we'll try to get somebody on here that can really share a lot about it.
Hey, Mike, if you're listening, man, hit us up. We really like to talk to you.
Right. Yeah, there's been a couple, we put a lot of feelers out there, and some hit and then some are just crickets. Yeah, some of them are hard to get to, hard to get a hold of. Larry the bird guy, we've been trying to reach out to him up in New York. I haven't heard nothing back from him. He hasn't been active on the Facebook or anything.
If you're in New York there, we need somebody to go check, see if Larry's there.
Dude, the other day when I was down in Phoenix, and I keep a bag of the pigeon pellets underneath my seat, and I started throwing them out in the parking lot, and then it was like all these pigeons from like rooftops just all like descended. And dude, there was such a big flock. There was actually a spread ash red in the mix. Obviously a bunch of like blue bars and checks and stuff. But man, I threw a handful out at a time, and like within seconds it was just gone. I think I dumped I didn't dump, but a handful at a time. I went through like a bag, like a big Ziploc bag of pellets out there. I tore it up. And then I went to a different parking lot, and there were some pigeons there, and I threw some out there, and they picked up the pellet and didn't know what to do with it and didn't eat it. That's funny. The first pigeon to realize that it's food is gonna have a good day.
You're gonna get a cease and desist letter for that one.
Yeah, I had a cop roll up on me one time when I was at a parking lot over by Mesa throwing feed out.
Tell you not to feed the pigeons.
I mean, it's like, because they got deterrents and stuff all over up there, so they're definitely trying to keep pigeons out, I guess. But it is what it is. They're like, really, like. But well, man, geez, dude, we've already chatted for like 30 minutes. I don't want to go over that because it's hard to edit.
Right on. Well,
so we'll wrap this up. But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody, and remember to like the ad said, like, share, whatever. We don't have. I guess we do have a YouTube you can subscribe to, but however you're listening, reviews,
share, subscribe,
reviews,
tell all your famous friends.
That's right.
This upcoming holiday, whether it be Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, whatever you got, anything cool, send them our way.
Yeah, and if you guys have any other people or topics or anything like that, hit us up. We'll do our best to bring them on for you.
I don't know what else we got. That's about it.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to be talking with Dave Schumacher in the next episode, so don't miss that one. And
yeah, we'll talk to Dave again.
He might want his bird back now that he knows it's you.
Right, now that he knows it's me. No, he's going to send me a pedigree. That's cool.
Nice.
I'll have a pedigree for the bird.
Nice. Those are always good.
So, yeah, just something to look at. Maybe something to keep records with.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.